This is a beauty and attracting scumbags. Quite literally, very directed to the point kind of video because I've been going through it for basically my entire life, attracting these archetypes. And for whatever reason, they feel very comfortable opening up to me, whether it's sober, drunk, it doesn't matter. Like, their true intentions always come out at some point. And I'm freshly showered, by the way, so don't think I'm just coming out here looking fresh and clean all the time. No, like, this is just me freshly showered. I'm gonna like get ready, maybe eat a sandwich. Excuse me, maybe eat some more ice cream. I've been going through it already, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit of what I'm talking about when it comes to like me attracting scumbags. Okay. So back in January, I had met this guy from a friend of mine, place of work. And she's a super nice girl, very sweet, very understanding, very humble. Like, she's the kindest person I know. And I will say this, and I'll bring it to, just as this, just to kind of like set the tone. She is on the spectrum of autism. And that's something that her and I had discussed. And I was like, I mean, there's nothing, that would weird me out. Like, I'd still treat you like, a normal functioning adult. Like, I get it, right? Like, just tell me when I'm like triggering you, or I don't know exactly how it works, right? But, you know, educate me a little bit. But, her and I had a really good friendship. We hit it off really well. To be honest, I'm still friends with her, even though she quit that place of work where she was at, because it was honestly draining her. And I've gone through something similar, so I totally understand where she's coming from and why she's doing what she's doing. So, you know, it's kind of like she's like she's someone that I go to with problems from work because she understands what I've been through and she's been through it too, and vice versa. Does that make sense? Like, we listen to each other very well. We're sister signs. I'm a Pisces, she's a Virgo. Just put it in that perspective. And this other guy came along months later after we became friends, and I was kind of weary at him at first because of the nature of like his personality. Just I hate his personality. I actually only tolerated him because she was friends with, to be honest, I don't know if she was friends with him because they were coworkers or because she genuinely liked the friendship. I can't speak for her, nor do I want to assume, so I'm just leaving it at that, right? Like, they were friends. And it was just a little bit weird how he would talk to me or the things he would say to me, and his overall outlook in life, like very cynical, like self-victimizing. And I can too, right, be a little bit of a cynic, but there's a point where, like, that's not what I'm always talking about. Like, our thing was mainly we would vent about how crappy our work was or how crappy our day went at work. And that was it. That was it between me and my friend. And then when he started chiming in, it was always talking bad about his girlfriend. And he's been with this girl. Not to say that we didn't talk about like our issues, right, in our relationships, or at the time who we had present in our life and our romantic lives. And his is still his girlfriend. They've been together for almost 5 years, and there was a point where we both kind of like were like, hey, if you feel this strongly against your girlfriend, don't you think it's time to just move on? Like, you know, we get it, it's hard, it's difficult, but you got to start over sometime and somewhere, and now sounds great. But he always had an excuse to why he couldn't, he wouldn't, and he didn't want to. How, like, they were both, him and his girlfriend were reliable on each other because of money and all this other stuff. So they kind of tried to work it through. But he would badmouth her a lot, and that's the reason why we would get a little bit like icked out by him, because such nasty things he had to say. And it's like, okay, but then like, why are you with her too? Like, that's weird that you see her in such a negative light, but you're with her, and you still try to get her validation, her approval. You know what I mean? Like, it was a little weird. So when that happened, I'll be honest with you, there was a point where I felt a weird shift in him energetically. because he was talking about other stuff that he had done in his past that were very graphic and negative and honestly very evil, borderline demonic. There was just something about him that sat bad with me. I could never pinpoint what it was, and he always tried to play a goody two shoes until last night or the night before. Because last night I was just chilling here at my place, but the night before I went to where my friend used to work, her ex job, her former job, her there you go, her former place of work, and I only considered him an acquaintance or a friend because of her. And there was a time where I felt like he was growing on me, so I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. We had already had some really good conversations. They were not really as bad and as heavy weighted, but I was trying to get to know him a little bit better, understanding his perspective, like seeing things from, from before. And I opened up to him about like my dad's recent third anniversary of his passing. And like I really opened up to him about that. Just a lot of things that came up to surface. And, the person that I fell in love with and how, it's not good timing for us. And if it's not the right time, like, things will come when it's ready. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's I try to keep that mindset, right? Like things will come to me when the time is right. I can still look for it, I can still apply for it, I can whatever the case may be, right? And he's my person. Like I have my heart, my heart and my soul have felt it that he's my person. Delusional or not, right? That's besides the point. That was just me venting. And he was listening. He was very attentive and it was nice, how everything was great. But the night before, which is the final time I saw him, and I basically like I cut him off, like no sign of me not cutting. He didn't see it coming, basically. Um, I was talking to him, having a regular conversation. I had just left the gym. I had worked out in the middle of the night, so it was one of those nights where I was like, "Hey, I'll just see what's up." Like, say hello, get a little bit of a Gatorade, rehydrate, maybe get some food. Well, let me tell you, girly pop, he was piss drunk at his place of work. And when he's working, he works in food service, so he's like, cutting stuff and dropping stuff, and I'm just like, maybe I don't trust him, right? But this was like, I trusted him a little bit before until I noticed he kept drinking. And I was like, hey, can I just get food real quick? Like, before, because I literally thought, like, before he gets any more drunk and starts fucking up and maybe he cuts his fingers or whatever, like, I don't know what he's doing, right? So I was like, okay, like, never mind. Go do what you gotta do. Because he kept coming and going and pacing, right? Talking and, like, saying all these things. Again, he was not in a good mindset, but I couldn't figure out why until he left. Oh, first we had the conversation, and then he left for 15, 20 minutes, went to the gas station, got more alcohol. He was drinking Buzz Balls, and he was downing them like water. And if I would have known that he had been downing the drinks, I wouldn't have had him make the sandwich for me, because he was being super messy, just grabbing everything, like, however, um, cross-contaminating things. Like, I picked up on a lot where I was like, this man has been drinking basically his entire shift. Like, this isn't just something that I just walked into, right? Like, I was trying to figure out his vibe. And he had been drinking pretty much the entire shift. And he knew, okay, that I didn't necessarily like him. He knew that I didn't necessarily feel fond of him, right? Like, I was only tolerating him because of our mutual friendship with my friend. Like, I see her more my friend, right? And she's also a Virgo, he's a Virgo. And just very different person, like very different Virgos, right? They're like literally a day apart or something like that. And even then, just that difference, like, again, just shows, right? Not to compare brain astrology into this, but that's just something that came to my mind. And, you know, again, try having like a conversation like, hey, dude, are you good? Like, okay. He starts talking about, completely dismisses my question and starts looking at me. I'm kind of like a little sketched out, right? Like, what the fuck is this guy doing, And just how I'm standing here, right? And you're facing here. Imagine me like getting progressively drunk, more drunk, I should say. I say, like, I need you to be very honest with me and give me reassurance. Like, on a scale from, and talking about how, like, if he was attractive, how attractive he was, how he wanted to attract 30-year-olds. Wouldn't that be a little bit weird? Like, where is this coming from? Because he has a girlfriend. So my first reaction was, and question was, where is this coming from? Like, you have a girlfriend. Why are you? I thought immediately, why are you thinking about this if you have someone at home to go home to? Like, I don't understand. And then he kind of starts yapping about how he wants to attract 30-year-old women and how, like, you know, he just wants to try something different, is what I understood from him. I don't know. He was kind of like all over the place and he was super messy because of the way that he had been drinking. He was chugging that alcohol. He wasn't just drinking, he was chugging his alcohol. It was very off putting, I'm not gonna lie. I did find it a little bit disgusting. And I don't know. I found it really gross. And I was like, dude, like, it's a red flag if someone younger like that wants to date someone that young, like a 5-year gap, like 26, I'm 31 and he's 26. I wouldn't mess with someone that young. No, 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 no. Like maybe a 2-year gap, like at most. But once you're hitting 3, 4, like that's kind of like a weird zone because men are still very underdeveloped. Like men need the time to flourish, right? And I don't know, like it's something that I think about and I'm like, he needs, he needs a space. Like, and that's what I said to him. What you need to work on is how to become single and live on your own and be on your own and like figure yourself out. But I meant it in a good way. And of course, not in a good way, but I meant it like in a like, hey, you need to get your shit together and stop talking about this shit. If you keep talking about other women, like at least, get your act straight. Live on your own, be on your own. Stop thinking about, I don't know what if he wants to have affairs or if he was being like low-key throwing it to me to see what I would say if I would catch the hint. I don't know what he was trying to do because he's also drunk and he's being stupid. And this entire time I was thinking about like, the fuck is this guy up to? Like, why is he drinking on the, because this isn't something I've ever really seen him do. Like, he would drink like a twisted tea, but here he was drinking buzz balls. And it's weird because I even told him once, you need to stop drinking on the job. Like, I'm not saying that I never seen him drink. It's just I've never seen him get this sloppy. And I had even warned him the night before, you need to stop drinking while on the job because he's always drinking. And the first thing that came to my mind is you're going to get fired. And I said to that to him, like, does it ever occur to you that you're going to get fired? And he's like, oh, because also like, just all the mess ups he was doing, he was creating a lot of waste. And that's, again, something he doesn't normally do. And I was kind of like, okay. And then he starts talking about like my friend and the reason why they didn't give her the raise, and it was because of him. And I didn't quite understand where he was trying to go with that. Like if it was because of the fact that he was maybe interjecting of like, well, if she gets a raise, why don't I get a raise? If I'm also like with management, I don't know, because he can be a little bit weird like that. Like, a little shady. He is a little shady. And he starts talking about like being with other people again, and like again he keeps going off into the tangent about being with 30-year-old women, and how attractive he is, like if he's actually that like out of shape for someone that hasn't been at the gym in over a year and a half, and he starts showing me his arms and to touch his muscles and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, dude, like where is this coming from, right? Because this isn't normally something he talks about. So I'm just like, okay, like where the fuck is this coming from, right? So once again, I'm like, this is super weird, right? Anyways, the whole thing catches me off guard. I'm a little defensive. I'm not gonna lie. Like naturally I'm already a little defensive, so I'm a little more defensive than usual, right? And I tell him, hey, dude, cut the crap. Like, stop drinking. People were catching on to his drinking. They were kind of being a little bit, because he was being a little bit like snappy, so they would kind of return the same energy, but they didn't necessarily complain. But I could tell that I could see their body language that they knew something was off, and I was kind of like, dude, like you need to stop. And he's like, I can control my alcohol, basically bragging about he could drive drunk and how he had drugs and all this other shit in his car that could have gotten him into some serious trouble, and that he got away with it, and he was like making jokes about it. Like, it was so fucking funny, and it was just stupid, and it made me think immediately, like, this cannot be true because this guy is literally a pussy. So I thought to myself, like, this guy's just talking out of his fucking ass, and everything he's saying is just for attention. Like, that's literally the first thing that came to my mind. Like, this man is only talking like this for attention. Like, it's not serious. This shit isn't real. Like, he's literally like he's throwing a little temper tantrum, right? Because I'm not giving him the attention he wants, so he's trying to get it in a different way. And I was right. Excuse me. He was trying to get my attention. I wasn't necessarily falling for it. So, again, he tried getting it in the most negative way possible. The only thing he managed to do is to genuinely irritate me. And I mean genuinely, like, he irritated me. And when I tell you that this man had zero sense of, like, how can I explain it? Like, he had just, like, no sense of respect. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I get it, like, he's tipsy, he's been drinking, but he was just being very nasty and, like, borderline hostile with me, to the point where he was trying to demand attention in the most negative way possible, like trying to intimidate me, and it wasn't working. I was kind of like, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to say? Because he was talking about, like, supposedly the things that he had done in Mexico, like, you know, getting a lot of directives. And then I was kind of like, okay, like, where the hell is this coming from? And then because I used to have, you know, a spicy account, because I used to be a spicy content creator, he kind of starts insinuating, like, you know, what I used to do. And then he starts asking me what I, like, how much. And because he's bisexual, I genuinely thought he was trying to see how much, you know, I would charge to get him. Maybe it was like, maybe he's having a drink business idea I don't know about. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not judging, right? Like, if he wants to sell his nudes, or, like, you know, eggplant pics, whatever the case may be. Live your life, you know, live your truth. That's where my headspace was. That's literally what I thought he was going to talk about. No. You know what he was trying to ask me? How much for pay per meet? Right in my face. Literally right in my face, dude. Like, right in my face. How much pay per meet? And get this. He went to the back, right, of his workplace, went to the back, came back with his little, like, zip bag, like little fanny pack, right, like the ones, like, crossbody little fanny pack, but you can wear it here, but he was wearing it crossbody. Takes out, like, a roll, right, like, let me wash my hands real quick. Hey, dog. Takes out, like, a roll, like a roll, right, like, with a like an elastic, like, nice and thick, of, like, you know, wrapped money in a hair tie, or a rubber band, I don't know, but I'm assuming it was a hair tie, wrapped, you know, and he's holding on to it, and he's literally, you know, at this point he's drunk, like, he's sloppy drunk, he's slurring really hard. He can't keep his composure anymore. Like, he's starting to get a little nastier. And he puts it out on me. And they're all ones, by the way. And he tells me there was $100, right? He's committed to $100. Basically, offering it to me for sex. He's like, oh, how much would you charge? Like, you know, because I'm trying to pleasure myself. Like, $400. Like, how much? And I'm like, I was like, are you being serious? Like, I think it took him a while to see my face, like, my genuine reaction. Like, are you being serious? Because, again, just the night before, I had told him about my feelings of a person that I had told him, hey, I'm in love with this man. Like, I love this man. This man is going to be my husband. I really love him. I really like him. He's my person, right? And I was being very serious about that statement. Like, this man is my person. Like, he is who I want to be with. I care about him deeply. Sorry, I'm just putting a little bit of olive oil in my sandwich. I care about him deeply. You know, like, this is, you know, I was being very honest with him about, like, my where my heart was set. And he seemed to be listening and doing really well with the conversation. And then that same, you know, within the same weekend, he fucks it up. And he's basically asking me for SW services. Like, as if it's the same thing as OnlyFans, and it's not, right? And I told him, I was like, I've had sugar daddies, but you have to understand, like, I like the men, and even then, like, it wasn't what you think it is. He was like, yeah, but, like, how much? Completely dismissing the fact of what I was telling him. And I was like, there is no fucking way that this man is taking things to this extreme and to this intensity and making it seem like I'm the idiot or like I'm the one that doesn't understand what's going on. And I'm like, wait, so you really think like that's what, you know, that's what I was up to? I was like, after everything that I've opened up to you, this is actually what you think I'm up to. No, like, I don't mean to offend, like, right? Starts playing off the whole, like, misunderstanding. He respects me so much, that, you know, that hopefully this doesn't ruin things between us. Like, you know, the stereotypical, like, tangent, right? Of, like, I hope this doesn't ruin things between us, right? And he kind of already, like, spoke and said what he had to say. How many fucking folk over? Like, he already fucked himself over. He already exposed who he is and what he's up to and what he was getting or trying to get. Like, he wasn't trying to be my friend out of the goodness of his heart. He was trying to see if he could fuck me. And if he couldn't, he would pay for it out of desperation. Because he's that desperate for another woman to touch him, despite the fact that he is quite literally close to be in a 5-year relationship. Literally. Almost in a 5-year relationship, and he's doing these tomfooleries. That goes to show you can't trust everyone. Like, you can't trust anybody. That poor girl has no idea. Has no idea. Sorry. That poor girl has no idea what her long-term boyfriend is up to. I'm sure she knows that he's a piece of shit. But she doesn't know to what extent he's a piece of shit. Does that make sense? So, yeah, that's how my weekend went. Unbelievable. Tell me about, like, 100% unbelievable. Horrible. But anyways. Such is life, right? I'm gonna let you go. Keep this in mind. Whatever red flags you see in your partner, they're gonna stay. Remember that. Take care.